What is up, you guys? It is your boy Lucius Toe Trap Tribe here, back with another episode of the Naruto Survival Guide, Shippuden edition. And real quick, before we get started, I just want to thank you guys so much for all of your support.
Oh, and you guys, you are the real heroes.
With that being said, go ahead and like and comment, as I do try to respond to as many of you as I can. I love the discourse, and of course don't forget to subscribe. We are almost at 500 and I could not be more excited about it. So, back to the story. Last episode we wrapped up the Gaara rescue arc pretty neatly, so if you haven't seen that episode, you need to go back and watch it, or else you'll be confused while watching this one. Now honestly, there's a big shakeup on the way. I know last episode I was preaching about not changing the timeline too much, but I'm sure you guys also noticed how in that Gaara retrieval arc, you didn't do any fighting, hardly nothing at all, right? Which is weird. You haven't really been able to showcase your training, but that's coming. Think of it as coming full circle. You'll be able to demonstrate your new talents and abilities in the second Sasuke retrieval mission. Inevitably, this is going to lead to another run-in with the likes of Orochimaru and Kabuto, but we also get to a point where we get to see how we match up against Sasuke. We all know that fight's on the way, and we're all pretty excited about it, especially since the last time that you've really been able to show off was in the Kimimaro fight. Even during the time skip when you had the second Chunin exams, you didn't really need to cut loose in the same way. Your jump in strength really allowed you to kind of just coast through the competition that time around. So this episode is going to be more protagonist-centric, and you might be thinking to yourself like, no shit, Lucius. This series is literally about me being the protagonist. First of all, rude. Secondly, let's jump back to where we left off last episode, okay? So, as I said, the Gaara retrieval arc has been nicely wrapped up, but of course, some of your comrades sustained some pretty bad injuries during the recovery of the Kazekage, namely your old teammate Adamuku, who is in the hospital currently. She'll make a full recovery, but she hasn't been speaking or moving very much. These are some of the common side effects associated with getting blasted in the face by Datara, his detonated clay.
What did he say?
So you tag along with Yamanako during his visit with Adamuku. Although you don't get to interact with her very much, Yamanako tells you how different things have been since the Leaf Village incident, and you're happy to hear that they're both doing well, at least relatively speaking, and the two of you spend a nice moment catching up. Once that's done though, you regroup with Team Kakashi and you guys head back to the Leaf Village. Now here's the thing about Yamato and Sai. Yamato's going to be filling in for Kakashi temporarily as usual because we know Kakashi's dealing with his stamina issues, you know, using that Mangekyo Sharingan. It's still really taxing for him. Not changing. Sai on the other hand, I wrestled with just replacing him outright, but it occurred to me that he's a little too valuable to the story. So I just figured, just have them all go along at the same time. Who gives a fuck, really? You and Naruto aren't going to be big fans of this side character for a little bit, because, you know, he's got kind of a grating personality, but it's all good. We keep moving on. We all know what's coming next. It's the Battle of the Tenchi Bridge, following Kabuto's rendezvous with his spy, or in this case, Sasori. That guy's super dead, though. So Yamato's going to disguise himself, and I always thought it was funny that Yamato's going to be the guy to cosplay as a puppet, because he looks like he's dead on the inside. Now what do y'all think happened next? I'll wait. Yeah, that shit didn't work. And Kabuto smashes the puppet with his bare chakra-infused hands. Like, damn, dude, can you learn a projectile?
Oh my god, bro.
Oh, hell no, man.
I apologize for my outburst.
Anyway, the whole time this is going on, you're chomping at the bit because Kabuto made you look silly back in the Chunin exams, thus setting in motion you versus Kabuto and Naruto versus Orochimaru. And we're going to focus on your fight, obviously, because we know that Kabuto is a pretty formidable opponent, but it's kind of hard to pin down exactly how strong he is. We know that in part 1 of the story, he's relative to Kakashi. You can kind of tell by the way their first encounter went that Kabuto was not too keen on getting tangled up with Kakashi, but that could just be because he was on the mission and he wasn't trying to fool around with the strongest Jonin in the Leaf Village at the time. We also know that Kabuto is extremely durable because he tanked a Rasengan by pulling some Doflamingo shit and healing his body at the same time of the point of contact. Basically, treating a wound that didn't even exist yet. So the guy's pretty clever to say the least, and his medical jutsu is kind of insane. Not Tsunade level, but it's pretty good. If you ask me though, I think if Naruto had the skill to hit him a second time, probably would have won him the fight. Not gonna lie. But maybe I could be wrong. Now, you personally, I don't even know if you have a move that is straight up stronger than the Rasengan. I don't know. Not sure. Not terribly sure about that one. The fight begins with you and Kabuto charging in and clashing with a couple of kunai. While you're in close proximity, Kabuto reaches out and attempts to attack you. Reaches out with a chakra scalpel targeting your shoulder. You're just quick enough to disengage and he smirks at the scene unfolding across the distressed bridge. The Naruto and Orochimaru fight rages on and Kabuto, feeling especially confident, tells you that this rescue attempt is a total waste of time. He and Orochimaru have no intention of handing Sasuke over, and it is unlikely that he would want to rejoin the Leaf Village anyway. To quiet Kabuto, you fire a massive fireball straight for him, and he deftly avoids it by leaping into the air, which you would hope for. An aura of bright orange flames engulfs your body, and a long fiery arm reaches out and plucks the Sound Ninja right out of the sky. A flash of shock crosses his face as he is rushed towards the ground by your flame cloak, creating a small crater at the impact site. You let go of your opponent and see a clearly smoldering Kabuto in the middle of the crater lying face down. You approach carefully, but once you're standing directly over him, a cloud of smoke envelops him and only a burnt log is left in place. You don't turn around in time to avoid a kunai blade slicing open your cheek. Shortly following, a fist hits the bridge of your nose and sends you reeling backwards. You recover quickly in time to grab a kick launched at your gut, reigniting your flame cloak in hopes to render him into nothing but a pile of hubris and soot. It doesn't quite pan out though, as Kabuto is able to rip his leg away from your hold and aims a chakra scalpel at your neck. He misses, and leftover flames dance across his hand. He grimaces, but rushes back in immediately, this time with both hands and no signs of slowing down. You're parrying well, but even as your flames creep up to his elbows, Kabuto still continues his relentless attack. This is a shocking development, and the look of confusion on your face must be obvious, because Kabuto can't wait to explain his technique to you. Like we just discussed, Kabuto has the ability to send chakra to different parts of his body and heal them prior to incoming damage, basically significantly decreasing the amount of damage he'll take in any specific area. After hearing this explanation, you drop your flame cloak because at this point you're just expending chakra needlessly. Best chance you have is to stop or slow down Kabuto's recovery somehow. But if he's just going to rip straight through your flames like they're tissue paper, you're gonna have to try a different approach. And I'm sure this is what you guys have been waiting for. Obviously, you're gonna have to access your Oni form if you're going to want to get off some significant damage to Kabuto. What's even better is that Kabuto hasn't read the scouting report on you in a long time. He has no idea you can do this, since the only person who's really seen it is Kimimaro, and, well, he's not talking much these days. As you're about to access this massive reservoir of spare chakra, Kabuto decides he's done playing around. You've proven to be exceptionally nimble in this fight, and Kabuto doesn't really like that. He's not been able to tag you with the chakra scalpel that really hindered your movement the first time you guys met, so Kabuto reaches into his bag of tricks from that same time and uses that little feather fall shit that makes you fall asleep. Now, this didn't work on the higher rank ninja and those who were experienced with genjutsu, but I'm just gonna say, for the sake of argument, that Kabuto's been working on this shit night and day, and it's way stronger. Especially since he's not trying to put to sleep an entire stadium of Shinobi fodder and spectators. He's just aiming for one guy. And you know what, goddammit, if it's good enough for Shinobi strikers, it's good enough for me. Once Kabuto casts this jutsu, you can really feel the fatigue of the day catch up to you all at once. It takes pretty much all the willpower you have not to just fall asleep standing up right there, but you slowly sink to the ground nonetheless. and Kabuto is creeping ever closer just as his weird ass is expected to do, with that chakra scalpel at the ready. But hey, what the fuck happened to the rest of your team? Well, Yamato's off chasing Naruto, trying to make sure that he doesn't completely lose his mind and destroy everything, so he's a bit tied up, but you still got Sakura, and you still got Sai. Well, not really, but Sakura's still there. We all know how she bailed Naruto out during that Itachi fight when he was trapped in the Genjutsu. But obviously Kabuto is a skilled ninja. She can't just walk up to you and wake you up. The big guy's probably not gonna let that happen. So, as our diversion, we get ourselves a cherry blossom clash, and Kabuto has no choice to evade this fucking monstrous attack that came out of nowhere. Now, while Sakura's help is not unwelcome at any means, it might have been a bit premature, and this is what I mean. Deep in the recesses of your consciousness, the seal seems to tear away of its own accord, and while you're laying on the ground outside in the real world, that chakra, that ominous aura starts to build up and flow out, and this almost demonic red mist starts to shroud the surrounding area. Now, as if there wasn't enough creepy-ass chakra floating about with Naruto going on a rampage, now we got this motherfucker over here. Yeah, I mean you. I'm talking to you, watching this video right now. This is your fault. I haven't seen this much chakra radiation since Chernobyl. But we're not here to talk about that. This overwhelming influx of chakra is enough to disrupt the effects of Kabuto's Genjutsu on your own, and you ominously rise to your feet, and you now tower over Sakura by a good head and shoulders now. What's more, I wanted to pull in a bit more inspiration from the Japanese mythology, or the origin of Onis, right? So, you have a Kanabo now, but that's not the only thing. I think you guys are really gonna like this. Raijin is the Japanese god of thunder, in Japanese myth, of course. And even though he's a god, he's often depicted as a demon, or in this case, as an Oni. And I thought because of that relationship, adding another element to this form, instead of just the typical fire that we've been using for the past 3,000 episodes, would be a fun twist to this transformation, and keep it fresh. And obviously we've seen time and time again characters with fire manipulation powers often finding their way into some lightning-based skills at some point or another. Most popular examples are obviously Sasuke in the source material that we're using, and Azula. As far as explanations go for this change, you can kind of remind yourself of the moment that Sasuke fired his fire style technique into the sky to drastically raise the temperature and change the weather. In this case, it's very similar. Essentially, your flame cloak has reached such a ridiculously blistering heat that it is drawing now lightning. And some of you in the comment section or watching this video will probably be a little bit more scientifically inclined than myself, and that's okay. But I'm just going to use a very bare bones explanation for the sake of time and say that essentially you've become the hub of a firestorm. I also could say anime magic and you wouldn't be able to do anything about it, so haha. Your newly minted form is standing there menacingly in all its glory, and Kabuto is shook now. He seems ready to make a getaway, but unfortunately for him, you're a little less sensible in this form of yours. And so you rush past Sakura to tail a fleeing Kabuto, and you're able to strike him with the Kanabo imbued with fire and lightning all at once, sending him careening near the edge of this valley. Now, if you thought he looked shaken up before, now he's really in the shit. You can tell that the lightning has really disrupted his muscles and nerves. The signals that are firing all over his body are just all out of whack. And that little healing shit he was trying to do before you hit him, it's not working. This absurd display of raw power is enough to make Kabuto look between you and Naruto and just absolutely watch the hope drain from his face. This guy is ready to take off, but since you're in hot pursuit, he can't exactly do that by just getting up and walking it off. So he does what anybody would do, and he uses a diversion diversion tactic, a classic ninja smoke bomb. With your heightened senses, you can kind of track where he is, and you make a move towards him, but Sakura, who wasn't too far behind, rests your movement. And even though you're a bit of a hothead, you aren't completely beyond reason, like, say, a Broly or, I don't know, Naruto right now. So Sakura is able to stop you in your tracks for a moment, and you consider her. It's clear that you're still really heated from the transformation, but you've been practicing quite a bit, so you're able to just chill out for a second, and you're able to drop the form. You actually handled yourself pretty well in that fight, even in your base form, so there's not a whole lot of injuries that you have to take care of, but Sakura, of course, is going to tend to the ones you have anyway. Specifically the cut on your cheek. We can't have the moneymaker looking fucked up. And with that being said, Yamato by now has gotten control of the Naruto situation, and at this point Kabuto and Orochimaru have gone and made their escape. Now, with all that being said, Sai ends up leaving with Orochimaru, just like he would normally, and you and Team 7 are left scratching your heads. But you're on a mission, and the goal is to recapture Sasuke. So, with that being said, you guys take a small breather and you hit the road once again. And that's where we're going to leave it. Guys, thank you so much for tuning in to this episode. Really appreciate your support. We are on the road to 500 subscribers, so please hit that subscribe button. Please leave a comment. I'm going to try to talk to everybody that comments. And with that being said, guys, thanks so much for watching. Take it easy.